again to a Hobby Memorial Library event with our partnership, Mayborn Science Theater, CTC Astronomer, Warren Hart. Hi, Warren. How are you
Hello,
today?
hello. Good to see everyone.
Yeah, well, we are ready for another one of your night sky tours. So tell me when you're ready.
Oh, I'm ready, and this is going to be the last one for the year, December, next month. And we
Oh,
got a
okay.
full house on things here. So, ready to, if you will show the ones that this is their first time, how to find what we're recording.
Okay. All righty. If you go to our library website and you go down to research, oh, I'm sorry, not research paper review, research study guides or lib guides, and you are going to find astronomy and Mayborn Science Theater. That's what we're going to be working from.
Mm-hmm.
So,
All right, good. Well, when we can, let's bring up the calendar for December.
okay.
And this has already been posted on the website, and Cindy will explain afterwards how you can download and print it out yourself. So let's start in there on that first line. And as you notice, this is we'll be have on there the last 5 days of November and the last pieces of information there. But we're going to then start on December on Friday the 1st, and it indicates we have 129 days until our total solar eclipse, and we're keeping track of that. And also, I have at the end, if you see on November the 30th, there the second bottom uh, piece of information there that I say that we have gone through by November 78 of the 88 constellations. So we've gone through 89% of them. And now here on the first, December the 1st, we have 10 constellations. That's 11% of the constellations yet to be toured. And when I get through here in December talking with you, we've done them all. Now, so let's go. There's other information you can see there that I've put in for you in that first Friday and Saturday. So let's scroll a little bit and let's get the second week on there, if you would, Cindy. And here we go. And at 12:41, which is just after noon, on Monday the 4th is going to be, the moon will be at what it's called its apogee. And that means, as you can read there, that it is farther from Earth than the rest of its orbit. And I'll explain that later when we get to another one. But then we also have here the first of our 10 constellations for December, and that is Taurus the Bull. So, Cindy, if you would, let's take a look at what Taurus the Bull shows us. Okay, here he is, Taurus the Bull, and there's information on that first page, as you can see. And if in that diagram, just above the white area, and the white area is the area that the professional astronomers worldwide back in the 1930s got together and they set up like surveyors, and they said this is the dimensions or the boundaries for in the sky of what we're going to call a certain constellation. So this is for Taurus right here. And just above it is a red dashed line, and that is our latitude line. So what that would indicate is if you go outside to look at Taurus, you're going to almost have to look directly up over you because everything on that dashed latitude line is directly over us throughout the year. And also you see that Taurus is at the Tropic of Cancer, which is the northern part of where the sun will go in the summer. And I have that indicated. If you see over on the left side, there's a circle with S in there, and that's for the sun. And there's the information that it is at what is called the summer solstice. And then is the diagram of Taurus the bull, primarily coming from H.A. Ray's book called The Stars. If you're not familiar with H.A. Ray, he is also the author of Curious George, which I imagine many people are familiar with that. So here is Taurus the bull. And if you'll scroll down to the second page there, Cindy, I also include for people that may be not in our area, the same thing, but I don't have on there our latitude and some other pieces of information. But let's go to page 3. All constellations will have at least the second page, and in this case, it's the third page. So all of those numbers and all those things in there are referring to what is on that initial page, page 1 or page 2. And I list them there with numbers and also with letters. And you can see as you go down. And in there, for instance, if we would see that Aldebaran, number 15, right there is brightest of this in Taurus the bull, and it's also the largest one in Taurus the bull, largest star itself. It's 44 times larger than our sun. And then as we look at the bottom of this third page, there are some things called asterisms. Asterisms are the technical name for what are called the asterism, meaning that it is some object in the sky, somebody years, centuries, millennium ago, or whatever, was looking up in the sky and they said, you know, that looks like some a certain thing, and I'm just going to call it that. And that name has stayed with us throughout up to today. For instance, a very familiar asterism that you might not have known that that's what it would be called is the Big Dipper. And we will see another one here coming up pretty soon, Orion's Belt. Those are asterisms. And all they mean is it's the name of something in the sky someone has named that is not the name of any of the 88 constellations. There is no constellation named the Big Dipper. Okay? All right, Cindy, thank you. Let's go back to the calendar, if you would, for us. And the other thing we have on Monday the 4th, down there is the moon as it orbits Earth here. It's around for us in from midnight on to mid-morning, and it is what we call, it's at its third quarter location. And it begins at that point in time there, it begins what we call its waning crescent phase. Waning is an old English term meaning that you are losing strength or whatever. There is also a waxing, which means that you are gaining strength. So waxing and waning uh, also describes many different things, waxing and waning tides and waxing and waning sounds and things like that. But let's go on over to Friday, the 8th of December, and we will be 4 months until the total solar eclipse. On Saturday, the 9th, is our second of our 10 constellations. And we have a diagram for it. So Cindy, if you'll pull it up, please. It is called Salem or Calem. You see there, I have it there, Salem on that. And to help in what is this, I use as a mnemonic help, it's the sculptor's chisel. Oh, the sculptor's chisel, and the constellation also starts with a letter C, so I can put the two of those together. And I don't know what the sculptor is trying to chisel out, but there's the four different stars that you can see in that section of the sky for it. Some of the names makes you scratch your head. Okay, we'll go on from there. Let's go to our third week in December, Cindy, on the calendar. And that takes us down to the second page. And you see here, we make up for the uh, sparseness of the first page, and we overload you on the second page. So here we go. The moon is still moving, of course, orbiting Earth. And so on Tuesday the 12th, in the evening, the moon is at what we call its new location, but you can't see it because we will be looking at the backside of the moon, if you want to call it that. And the order would be in space would be the sun the farthest away as we would look toward the sun. In between us and Earth is the moon, right in line with us. So we are looking on at its shadow, its dark side of the moon, and that's what we will have in April next year when we have our total solar eclipse. We will see the silhouette, if you will, of the moon, and it will be totally dark because we're looking at it from this side on the opposite side of the uh, illuminated side from the sun. On Wednesday the 13th, here is what we're going to have for January's talking about the constellation. So Cindy, if you want to mention about this.
Um, yeah, no, we're gonna have, let's see, we're gonna have it early because we have a winter break. And so that's why we're gonna have it then. And you guys can look at our, you're putting me on the spot, Warren.
There we go.
Yeah, is that what you wanted me to show? Okay. All right. So yeah, it'll be early this year. I mean this month, this next
Month in
month,
December.
right, next month, because we're going to be having a winter break.
Yep.
So,
Okay. And that's where they can see that and
yes.
also click onto it here. All
Yes.
right, let's go ahead on then on Thursday the 14th, and we have our fourth, or pardon me, our third constellation of December, and that's Dorado. That's the swordfish. And so we're going to see the diagram for it, Cindy, and here it comes. And it actually comes out pretty good for its name as a swordfish, a long nose and that. It's very far south, and it's down, if you see there in the middle of it, There's a red line, just like we had on our latitude in Taurus the Bull. But here we have this one, and this is our southern horizon. So what that means is in that white area and also in the gray area, everything from there up we can see, but from there and down we cannot see. So unfortunately, down at the bottom of it, this what looks like something was dropped and spilled. This is
Is that a
uh,
UFO?
yeah, almost. No, it is. Well, I tell you what. Let's just go to the our third page and let's find out what that is. And go scroll down as we would read, as we read 1, 2, 3, and then the letter A, and it says LMC. Oh, the Large Magellanic Cloud. And there is information in there about the different things and also the history of how that came about. And there you have the Portuguese sailor Ferdinand Magellan, first European to record this in his diary, and he was the first one to circumnavigate the earth and keep a diary. And so that's what we have. The LMC, the Large Magellanic Cloud, and there is also a an SMC, but we've gone past it already. Okay, and then there is other information on that third page. And all of this, the constellation pages and the information pages, just like for anything on the web page of the astronomy page for you, you can copy, download, and print out and have available for you when you want to go out at night or whatever to reference any of the constellations. Let's go back, if you would, Cindy, to the calendar. And we have there on Thursday, nothing really on Friday. And then on Saturday, the 16th, we have there in also right after noontime, the moon at its perigee. And you read that, and it talks about it being the closest to Earth. Now, Cindy has come up with a mnemonic device that helps her to figure out which one is which, the perigee or the apogee. So, what is that, Cindy?
Perigee means it's perilously close.
There you
We
go.
should duck. No, I'm
Yeah,
kidding.
yeah. The orbit of the moon is a circle, but it's not a constant radius circle. It is an elliptical circle, like it would say, like an egg. And so there is a time when it's closer to us and a time when it's farther from us. And then also that evening on the 16th, there's going to be my last time here in December, because it is December that we're going to be talking about the constellations and of December, the 10 of them. And that's when I'm going to tell my uh, Orion and Scorpion talk describing in the sky. And so if you come, you are going to pick up and become acquainted with and can find in the sky probably a good 8, possibly 10 constellations that you'll pick up at that time. And I can do that at the planetarium. Of course, we can't do that right here. Okay, let's the next week then on the 18th, the sun, as it moves, and I'm just keeping track of it for everybody, it enters the ecliptical constellation called Sagittarius the Archer. And that's just for information because you can't see it. You don't look at the sun. And if the sun is there, you can't see the constellation. It's all bright. So I still put it down though. Okay, on Tuesday the 19th, the moon has moved past our new moon and it's around up to its first quarter. Now, I fail if you scroll up the first, yeah, go up to the first week. Just okay, easy, easy. Go on back down on the 12th. I want to get the 12th and the 19th right there. I failed to mention the moon was at its position in between Earth and the sun. Then, as soon as that's at its position, it continues to orbit, and then it starts its waxing crescent phase. And so the the illuminated side of the moon, we get to see more and more of it. So it looks like over, as you would follow the sequence each night, there that its moon is seeming to grow as far as its light that you can see. Now look at on the 19th, a week later, we have the moon at its first quarter position. It's made it all the way around, and its waxing crescent phase has ceased because it's now going to be waxing gibbous phase. Gibbous is a Latin term that means hump, H-U-M-P. So it's going to look, as it continues on, it looks like something is bulging out from on the moon there that gets more and more light from the sun as we're seeing whereas it moves. And we'll find it and we'll track it to see what happens next. On Wednesday the 20th, we have our fourth constellation of December. It's Mensa, the Mesa or the Table Mountain. So Cindy, let's bring it up if you would. And notice in relation here, it's way down below our horizon. And there you see, there is the constellation Dorado up above it. And then there's the Large Magellanic Cloud. And look over to the right, over where it says minus 70 degrees out there. And there is the indication of the SMC, the Small Magellanic Cloud. So and both of those were unfortunately just named clouds because that's all that was known back in the 1500s. But it's actually, both of them are actually galaxies. And it was not until the 1900s that we were able to identify and realize those are galaxies. For many years, 1700, 1800, and all early 1900s, we did not think that there was anything else other than our own Milky Way galaxy. But then we were surprised that we were just a pea in a whole bucket of peas, that there's many more galaxies. And so this is what we have here. And like I said, unfortunately, or whatever they used at the time, it looked like a cloud. And it still looks like a cloud if you go down to the southern hemisphere and look, but it is actually a distant galaxy separate from us. Okay, let's go on back to our calendar and let's see what we have after that. And on the 20th is our fourth, well, we had that the 20th, the Mensa, the Mesa, and we go to the 21st, and we have our winter solstice. Now, what is that? The sun is the furthest south of the equator for this year, out down at the bottom at the Tropic of Capricorn. And that's where we change and keep track of our different seasons in the we experience here on Earth. So at that time, at the solstice, the season of autumn or fall ends and the season of winter begins. Where did the name solstice come from? It's a Latin
Sun.
two words. Sol is sun, and stice is an odd one, but anyway, it means stand still. And so the astronomers and the lookers in the sky would look, and they would notice that every day it seemed like the sun was going further and further south at high noon, we would say. And well, is it going to keep going? But it began to slow down, and then finally it seemed it stopped because that's the furthest south it goes. So the winter sun stands still, solstice is there. The opposite is in June, July next year, that when we have our summer solstice and we have then we go from spring to summer. On the 22nd, we have a double here. We have our fifth and sixth constellations. And we'll start with the rabbit, the lepus, the hare, or the rabbit. And Cindy has it here for us. So let's take a look. And there it is. And one of the things I pointed out in my story for this coming Saturday, I tell people that this is the rabbit or the hare, and somebody will call out, "Well, that sure didn't look like a rabbit to me." And then I ask them, "Well, what time of year is this?" And finally, eventually, somebody will call it, "Well, it's winter." Okay, what do you expect if you were up north in winter, if you were outside or looked outside, what's on the ground? They're going to come around. Well, snow. Yeah. Well, this rabbit is trying to hide in the snow because he is in the most dangerous place that he could ever be because he's right at the feet of Orion, the mighty hunter. So, Cindy, let's bring up the mighty hunter itself, Orion.
Oh,
Okay, there he is. There's Orion. Notice if you look down below his feet, there is Lepus right there. And so, and if you scroll up just enough for there you go, good. Notice that I have there for us, and it's in the boundary between Taurus and Gemini in the summer. There is the summer solstice, and that's the highest the sun comes along in its track as we orbit around the sun. Anyway, here is Orion, and there you see it's a large one, and I call it an equatorial constellation. Now, why do I call it that? What's the dashed purple line, or whatever color that is, brown line in there? It says it's the equator. So Orion, the area that's devoted to Orion, straddles the equator, and it's in both the northern hemisphere, where we are, and it's in the southern hemisphere there. And there are the numbers and the letters, if you will, for the stars and the objects in Orion for you to look at. And the last page down there, Cindy, page 3, has the listing of all of them. and there's a similar information for you to help point out the different things. So we're going along. We have, as we said here, this is our fifth and sixth set of constellations. And so we go on back, and the next day, on the Saturday the 23rd, we have our seventh of the 10, and this is the painter's easel. And so Cindy's going to bring up the there. Okay. Now, I'm not sure how the easel is leaning, or that's a drawing on the easel, or I just really don't know. So I'll just leave it at that. But that is Pictor, uh, the painter's easel. And again, if you want, it helps you with a P and a P, the painter, and in the constellation Pictor, like we had the chiseler in the constellation Calum with the C. Okay, so let's look at our next to last week on the calendar, and let's go and, oh, we have on the 24th, the Christmas Eve. And then on 25th, the actual Christmas Day itself. Now, 9 in the morning, we have something called the equation of time. And I've been wrestling with how I think I can um, describe for you what this is that will make a better sense than what I've used in the past. So Cindy's already got up our diagram for it. Okay, if you were in a classroom of the students there, that you would probably have a globe uh, of Earth, and out in the Pacific Ocean is this weird looking, looks like an 8, the number 8. But this is what we call the analemma, as the equation of time. In the very vertical center, where it starts up at the top and it says 0, and it goes on down toward the bottom, and it's listed as the meridian. Okay, we have two things that are going on. There are, if you will, there are two clocks that are on this page and describing for us their relation to each one of them. First of all, now, a lot of us have given up our wristwatches, and we use our telephone, our phones, iPhones or Androids, and you have time on there. What has been done for us for our time on our clocks is that we want a standard length of time. For an orbit around the sun of Earth, we are closer to the sun a certain time of the year, and we're farther from the sun a certain time of the year. The closer you get to toward the sun, the gravity of the sun keeps increasing and pulling, and so as we're getting there the closest, we are orbiting the fastest to go around the sun. And we got to orbit faster because we don't want the sun to pull us into it. So if you look, if you will, up at the top, the small part of the top of the number 8 there, and you see how it goes. And let's look over on the right-hand side in the blue. It says May the 1st. And then the direction is going to tell us we see June the 1st. Oh, so May to June, we're going counterclockwise on this. And It keeps on going, and then we come, and at the very top up there, there's a little bitty arrow, and it says the summer solstice. And if you notice that the diagram, it looks like it's kind of slowed down a little bit, but not a whole lot. And each of those little circles is one day. And we go on to July the 1st. Now, when we speed up and slow down as far as going around the sun in 24 hours, if we were going to align ourselves with the actual time in relation to the sun in the sky, everybody everywhere in the world with a watch would be having to reset your watch every day because we sped up and we slowed down. So instead of that, the scientists, the astronomers got together and they took the 365 and a quarter days that takes us to go around the sun. They divided it into days and they said, we're going to standardize there that every day is 24 hours. And that means then uh, that's what we will use for our time here on Earth. So what I have labeled on here, that is your clock time. That is what we are referring to. But what you're looking at is the sundial time. Oh, okay. And here, and it's telling us in reference to the sundial that we, using our time on Earth here, we are ahead or behind the actual sundial you have in your yard or what they would have there. So this is giving us a depiction of the difference between the two time points we're using. Our clock time, or what is called our median sun, and also our actual sun in the sky. And when the sun is at high noon for us, in other words, right on our meridian, our watch may indicate that we are, and if you notice to the right half of the diagram, it's telling us there at the top, this is the sun is faster, it's ahead of us. Oh, and over on the left-hand half, we see it says the sun is slower. And this is all because of speed up, slow down gravity as we go around the sun, and that's what the difference is. So the equation of time gives us, okay, I'm looking at my watch right now, it's 12:39. This is in November. And so if I back up over here on the bottom right part of the equation of time diagram on the 8, you see there, and Cindy is moving her little cursor for us. There's November 1, and we're getting down there. We're about a little more than about halfway, 19. And so is the sun ahead of us or is it behind us? Well, look up at the top and you see it's approximately 14 minutes and it's a fast for us there. And so that's the sun is ahead of us in 14 minutes. So 14 minutes later is when we would think we're at our noon. So you'll get that when it works out and you're seeing the time and the correlation between the two. One is the sundial time, and the other one is your wristwatch or your iPhone time. Okay, let's go on back to the calendar, and we'll get off of this. We'll go now to Tuesday the 26th, and we have been going, if you look up just above and to the left of it, right up there on the 19th,
Sorry.
there you go, 19th and the
Sorry.
26th. That's all right. Notice it was a waxing gibbous. It was bulging, bulging. Okay, now on the 26th, let's see what happens. The moon is at its full location. It's now, let's see, what do we have? We have in line, we look at the sun, and we're on Earth. There's nothing in between us and the sun. Oh, we can look now in the back in our shadow, and there's the moon at its full location. So the waxing gibbous has stopped. But now, right at the full location, now it begins its waning gibbous. And so the bulge is going to start decreasing. And that's the process as we go every time around the moon comes around here. Okay, on the 27th, we have our 8th constellation, Columba, Noah's dove. And Cindy's going to bring that up here for us. And there it is. There's the dove, if you will. And notice it's also down below Lepus. Look above, there's Lepus, and there's the Tropic of Capricorn there, and Columba is further south that we have. All right, and Columba, by the way, if you want a trivia little statement on for someone, Columba is the only constellation in the sky that's listed and with a reference to the scriptural Bible, Noah's dove. Okay, let's go back to the calendar and we'll progress on. And we said that Columba was the 8th, and now we go to Thursday the 28th, and here are our last, or here's the 9th constellation, Auriga the chariot driver. And so Cindy will bring that up, and we'll notice it is up north of our of us in relation to us in the looking north, and look at the bottom of Auriga, and you see there is Taurus. So remember we said that Taurus was below, and then we have Auriga above. And so there we go. And Auriga actually is one that straddles our latitude. So when you look straight up over you at this time of year, you would see Auriga straight up right over you there. And then it has its listing too, also of the different stars and the things in the sky. Let's go ahead back to the calendar, and we go over and on the Saturday the 30th, we are then at a significant time. It's now 100 days until the total solar eclipse. And also, we have the last of our 10 constellations for December. This is the last constellation of all 88, and this is Camelopardalis the giraffe. So let's pull it up, Cindy. And there it is, and it's way north. We can see it, but it's way north of us, Camelopardalis the giraffe. And so I tried to connect it all. Well, what in the world, how did you come up with Camelopardalis? Well, a few centuries ago, when the we had hunters and all that would go to Africa and explore, and they found a giraffe never seen before. My goodness. Well, what in the world are we going to call this thing? They were familiar with. They knew the largest animal that they had seen, as far as in size, pretty well, other than an elephant, was a camel. So it does have brown skin, kind of, you know. So they're going to call it a camel. But then look at the next word, and it's not quite, it's Latin for leopard. So they said, oh, it's spotted like a leopard, and the colors are similar in a way, kind of to the camel. So they put it together. It's a camel leopard, or a leopard camel, however you want. So that's our last one for the year of our constellations. We're going to go back on here for you. And as we've been going through each one of these, I would put on the information about it, uh, of the stars in that constellation, and there was 6 things I was looking for. So Cindy, if you bring up our 6 extreme stars diagram. There we go. All right, the 6 extreme stars. And I chose these because this is what you can probably would be interested in. First of all, the first column over on the left is the apparent visual magnitude. In other words, what we see using our eyes, and of course, even binoculars or telescope, but primarily with our eyes. And we wanted to know in each of the 10 constellations, which one of all that list is the dimmest one. So if you can go in on the constellation page there, Cindy, and bring it up full for
For
us.
which
Yeah,
one?
we'll just bring it up and we'll scroll as we need to. Yeah.
So so like each one constellation?
No, no, just go ahead and make this full page like you've done
Oh,
before.
oh, bigger.
Yeah, bigger.
Okay.
The other word.
The
Yeah.
other word. Okay. All right.
Yeah, okay. And
Here we go.
so here's we have Taurus the Bull, and it's the 4th star in the list. There's its name, Tauri, and that's Latin for in Taurus. And there's its magnitude, or how bright it is, and there's the number, 0.4 +4. And then Aldebaran there, and notice it's in the column for the brightest star in Taurus the Bull. And okay, well, which of all the stars in Taurus the Bull, which one is the closest to us? Well, it happens to be 4 Tauri, 10 Tauri again. It's only 45.5 light years away from us, which would mean that it's pretty close as far as galaxy time and distance. And then, which one is the farthest away from us in Taurus? And that's Thor, the 6th star, and it's got a Latin Greek name, Lambda Tauri, and it's 480 light years. And then the last two is, which one's the smallest? Well, guess who shows up again? Number 4, Tauri. Tauri is not only the dimmest, the closest, it's also the smallest. And it's just barely 1 2/3 almost the size of our sun. And then the largest one, we go back, and there's number 15, Aldebaran, if you will, the eye of the bull, and it's 44 times larger than our sun. And we see there. Okay? Now, each one, I've listed them, and if you begin scrolling down, you see some of them got a gray in there. Wonder what that means. Let's go. Those two, keep on going. Let's go on down, see? And there's some more grays there. Notice in Orion, we got two grays. We have in Orion, uh, habit number one. Well, that's not a real familiar, but it's the closest one to us. And then we have Betelgeuse, the one that's the largest. Oh, wow. Okay. And we go on down. And so all of that I put together at the very bottom, the bottom row. And I say, of all of 10 of the constellations, which one is the dimmest and of all, and that happens to come from the Mensae, and the brightest is Capella in Auriga, the chariot driver. And then we have which one is the closest to us, and that happens to be that first star in Orion. And which one is the farthest from us, and that's up in Camelopardalis. And notice it's 4 centuries ago from us, 4,100 light years away from us. And then we have which one's the smallest and which one's the largest, and Betelgeuse is still the largest. So that's just another thing there for you as far as keep information that is in there about the sky for us. Let's look at our last part of
What?
December. And notice, scroll down just a little bit so we'll get the bottom of the page, or scroll up, whichever you have to do. There we go. Now, on the 31st, we have accomplished, we have the total of all 88, 100% of the constellations, and we'll just say we have toured all of them for this year. Notice in January of next year, if you go down, and in the middle part, it says that there are 7 constellations to be toured, and that's 8% of the 88 in there for the month of January. And then we'll be going along and doing the same. Which one is the first constellation in January? Which one's the second, third, fourth, etc., etc. And the other thing I have for you at the beginning of each month, I put in for you what are the favorite planets that are you can view that month between sunset and sunrise. And so in there would be Venus, Jupiter, Saturn, and Uranus. And then here's the moon out at its apogee. Now, I'll just go ahead in January the 2nd is when the sun is closest to Earth this year, or we could say Earth is the closest to the sun this year. Either way. And that is called the perihelion. Helion. Earth, as we go around the sun, our orbit is also like an egg shape. And I ask questions of people that there is a perihelion and there is an aphelion. One is the closest, one is the farthest, and one of these is in January. So I ask people, which one would that be? Would that be the closest to the sun or the farthest to the sun? Predominantly, people are going to say, well, that's got to be the farthest from the sun because we're in winter here. And I say, sorry, you're wrong because we are tilted away from the sun in the wintertime. And so the southern hemisphere is tilted toward the sun in our wintertime. It is there summertime. And so it makes sense to them that in the summer, they are closest to the sun. Okay. All right. That's it. Any questions? Any comments?
Any questions, Alyssa?
No, we don't have any questions right
Not
now.
yet? Okay.
Okay. Enjoyed being with you all this December. So we're going to start in 2024. Those that are going to be able to come this coming Saturday, I'll see you then. But anyway, now for others, I want to wish you a happy Thanksgiving and a Merry Christmas.
You're awesome. Thank you. You too. Thank you, Warren. And before we go, I want to remind everybody we have a few more events left before our year is out. We have a gaming break at the library. We're going to have that on November 30th. We also have another night sky tour on December 11th. And we always have Writers Guild in case you guys want to participate in that. We are going to be filling this events page, and you can find the events here on our website, because in 2024 we are going to be having pretty much like once or twice a week events, and there's going to be a big series called Surviving Adulthood, where we're going to be just teaching basic stuff like how to change a tire, clothes maintenance, how to sew, how to tie a tie, how to do banking, how to go find rental places, how to organize your time. And we're doing this just to help everybody, if you're just getting out there to be independent, or if you've been independent out there a while and like, I don't know how to change a tire. I would be sitting on the side of the road with a YouTube video trying to change the tire that way. So, it's basically, we're going to have a lot of that. We're also look forward to an event with Warren again on eclipse safety. We are going to just have a lot of events in the spring, and we will go ahead and hopefully have them up on our events page, and we can start telling you guys about them. Just a lot of fun. If you guys ever have any ideas for events, you know that we do events over here at the library, so let us know. And that's all I got to say, Warren.
All right.
Yep.
Enjoyed it.
All righty. Well, we'll see you next month. And you guys, y'all be safe for the Thanksgiving holiday, okay?
Yeah. All right.
All
Thank you very
righty.
much.
Thank you. And